Hello everyone, welcome to Self-Knowledge. Today we are having the topic number 7 of the Self-Knowledge course. And today we have a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about the protection conjurations. And this topic is, well, absolutely important because when we learn this, you're going to see very simple techniques, but very effective techniques. We are going to be able to harmonize our environment when we are going to do our different practices, and we are going to cleanse our environment from negative energies, from negative entities. We are going to learn to protect ourselves, protect our inner energy from external attacks, entities who wants to steal our energy. So we are going to learn how to avoid the sleep paralysis because the sleep paralysis is something or a moment in which a external negative entity is coming from the fourth dimension and is there to steal our energy. So when we get afraid, or when we get sexually aroused and we get to the orgasm and ejaculation, be it during the sleep paralysis or during a dream, we are actually being under the attack of a negative entity. So once we are doing this work of self-knowledge, once we are trying to save our energy, because now we understand the importance of our energy, so we understand the need to start protecting ourselves. So today we are going to learn 4 important conjurations: the Berlin conjuration, the magic circle, the Jupiter one, and the pentalpha. And well, the word conjuration, you may have heard the word conjuration applied to various situations, but it is important to start by being clear that the word conjure means to prevent or to avoid with anticipation a negative situation or force. So these conjurations that we are going to learn today are not to attack anyone, but are to protect ourselves, to protect our own energy, and also to unmask fake masters or fake or false beings of light that can appear when we are astrally unfolded and they try to impersonate consciousness, and they are trying to give us some kinds of teachings or directions. But once we know these conjurations and it's specific for this situation, the Jupiter conjuration, then we are going to be able to discover, to unmask these negative entities. And let me see. When we start eliminating our psychological defects, when we start stopping from extracting from our body our sexual energy, but we start to practice the suprasexuality, well, we start like filling ourselves with energy, because what is going to turn us into powerful beings is the amount and the pureness of the energy with which we are filling ourselves. And we are becoming energetically, let's say, high beings. And for that reason, the low vibrations in our environment, or the entities with low vibrations in our environment, are going like to start like watching us more, because now that we are filling ourselves with our energy, now that we are not letting our psychological defects to feed on our energy, and we are saving our energy, then we are becoming like a light. So let's say the darkness can see us like a little more clearly. And that is why the White Lodge have left these protection tools, and who are the White Lodge, the opposite to the Black Lodge, and the beings who have like done this work of self-realization, 100% conscious beings, conscious masters, who seek to help us in this process. So if we start waking up, we must learn to protect ourselves using these simple but very powerful tools towards these negative energies or Black Lodge, whose function is to keep humanity asleep and empty of energy. So another thing that is important to know is that these conjurations are going to be more and more effective as we fill ourselves with more and more power through the work on the 3 factors for the consciousness revolution that we explained in this course from the first lecture. And having explained this, let's see now what these conjurations are and what is each one specifically for. And the first one that we are going to see is the Belly Conjuration. Actually, the Belly Conjuration is a song, and it's like a mantric song that helps us to clean the environment in which we find ourselves energetically, especially when we are going to sleep, because we must always clean our environment and close it with the magic circle conjuration when we are going to pass through the astral plane. So every time we are going to sleep, but also very important when we are going to practice suprasex. It is important that we clean the environment before and we close it. And when we are going to do actually any practice, like for example meditation, concentration, whatever. And what this song is going to do is that it's going to remove any larva, any negative energy that can like impede us, for example, of reaching a good state of concentration, or that can come and generate certain sensations in our bodies, certain like when you are trying to meditate, or when we are trying to astral unfold, and you start like feeling like if it is itching everywhere. Actually, those are larvae in your environment. Or they can bother us during the any practice, or leading us to a sexual fall, or leading us to have the sleep paralysis, as I was explaining. So what we are going to do is that with this song, we are going to clean the environment, and then we are going to close it so those negative energies cannot re-enter, because negative energies are actually like dust. You clean them and they come back. So we make the Belly Conjuration, and right after that we make the magic circle of protection. And when singing the Belly Conjuration, we need to be very concentrated, and we are going to be concentrated in our heart without being distracted by any thought and without doing anything different. We are going just to be concentrated, and we are going to start singing. Belly, 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 Anthura of Salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power over me. Belly, belly, belly. And you are going to repeat that song 3 times. Again, belly, 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 Anthura of Salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power over me. Belly, belly, belly. And a 3rd time. Belly, 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 Anthura of Salvation, I would like to be close to you. Materialism has no power over me. Belly, belly, belly. And this actually, that simple, is a very powerful conjuration, and it moves away all negative energies from the environment. But it is also very useful to protect ourselves in in circumstances of physical danger, even in situations where there is like a heavy environment, because I don't know, people is or let's say people are arguing some way, and we make this song. Maybe in our minds, we just sing this song, and we are going to see how people that start calming down. And even on those occasions in which babies cry desperately for no apparent reason, I actually have tried out singing this song, and I've seen how the baby just calms down. And it is also very interesting to use this song in the astral plane and observe how when we start singing this song in the astral, all negative entities just move away. And actually, it is very interesting to prove this true when we find ourselves conscious in the astral. Prove to sing it and observe the reaction of the bad entities around you. And this conjuration can be done mentally, but it is more like effective or powerful, let's say, if you do it verbally. But what does this mean? So let's explain these lyrics. When we say Belilin, actually Bel means tower, and Lilin means fire. So here we are talking about a tower of fire. And what is a tower of fire? The tower of fire is our spinal column, through which the sacred fire or the kundalini rises when we do the work of sexual alchemy. And this fire, that is our energy, our own power, will be the one that when we are concentrated will come out from our heart to clean the environment. And when we talk about Anthura of Salvation, an amphora is actually a container where the water was formerly stored, and the water internally represents also our sexual energy. So this amphora represents our sexual gonads, where our waters of life are contained. And as we have been learning, if we use this energy wisely, we will save ourselves from the darkness. And when I say, or when we say, I would like to be close to you, we like ratify our decision not to waste this energy again. And the materialism is like the entire force of the Black Lodge, you know, the opposite to the spiritualism. And it is the materialism what always seek us to waste our lives in the search of money, prestige, to always look for the sensory pleasure that will lead us to lose our powerful sexual energy, and to become like more materialistic each time. That is why we state in this conjuration, materialism has no power over me. That is the meaning of these lyrics. And we repeat this conjuration 3 times because the number 3, or the law of the 3, is what creates. And well, that is the conjuration of the Belilin. Try to sing it. Observe how your environments like change when you do this conjuration, and try this conjuration in the astral plane, so you see how effective it is, like directly. And once we have cleaned the environment, we are going to close it by conjuring the magic circle of protection. And to do this conjuration, we also need to be concentrated in our hearts without being distracted by any thought and without doing anything different. And we are going to be like imagining each word, and we are going to say with confidence and strength, asking our inner being, Father of mine, Lord of mine, God of mine, I beg you, if it is your will, to command my elemental intercessor to leave from my body and draw a magic circle of protection around this place in order to make it free from any evil forces. That is the request. And there you are going to imagine how your inner father requests your elemental intercessor this way. Elemental intercessor. You say like with a strong voice. Elemental intercessor. Elemental intercessor. 3 times. To your work in the name of Christ, by the power of Christ, by the majesty of Christ. And there we chant the mantra S, the sound of the letter S, like 3 times, while we imagine how our elemental intercessor which is our, let's say, our guardian angel, comes out from our pineal gland and is like surrounding the perimeter of the place we want to protect in a clockwise direction. I mean, from left to right. This is my left hand. This is my right hand. In clockwise direction, and is like surrounding that perimeter with a bright green light, creating like a dome of light, of a green fire around us or around the place that we are protecting. It's with the letter S, like. We imagine that it makes the circle 3 times while we do the S. And something that is important to notice that when doing this conjuration is that we ask our inner father, which is the wisdom of our consciousness, to command the elemental intercessor. And that is because this elemental intercessor doesn't obey us as we are full of ego, it obeys our consciousness, our inner father. For that reason, we made the request to our father to ask the elemental intercessor to do this work. And actually, when doing these 2 conjurations, we will have our environment clean and closed and prepared to do any practice. And as I was saying, it's very important to consider not to go to sleep without having cleaned and closed our space. This circle will protect us from any damage that someone wants to do to us, both physically and spiritually. So if we are like closed when we go to sleep, then no entity can enter to make us that sleep paralysis stuff. No, because we are closed, we are protected. And it is good to know that once the circle is created, it will only be broken if we leave the circle. I mean, if we or anyone leaves the circle. Because if, for example, we are with our partner in our bedroom and we close the area of our bedroom, but our partner goes out, I don't know, for a cup of water, whatever, it is going to break the magic circle. So we will need to do it again. So it's important that we take that into account, or that we close our full house, or the entire house. Or if we sleeping alone, or if we are just going to do a meditation here, but later I'm going to move somewhere else, I'm going to close the place in which I find myself. But in the precise moment that I leave the magic circle, it is going to be broken, and I will need to do it again to be protected. And now, let's see the 3rd conjuration. Well, actually, here in the page, probably tomorrow, we are going to post these conjurations so you have them there and you can study them and you can learn them. It's good that you start right away practicing these conjurations to prove it true, but to learn it also. And well, the 3rd conjuration that we are going to see today is a Jupiter conjuration. And this is actually a very powerful conjuration that will help us to defend ourselves from any direct attacks, both physically and spiritual. For example, in the physical plane, we can be in a dangerous situation where someone is coming, to rob us. And at that moment, the correct thing is to do this conjuration to neutralize the defect of the person who is coming to harm us. Or actually, you can try it. For example, there is a dog that is coming to bite us, and that happens to me personally. We do the Jupiter conjuration, and we see how the dog immediately comes down and sits. It is very interesting to actually check it. But this conjuration is especially useful in our inner world during the astral projection, because once we are unfolded in the astral, we are going to see that some of our own defects and even some black magicians will try to impersonate consciousness, as I was saying, and even try to pretend they are ascended masters, beings of light, to try to confuse us and divert us from our spiritual path. And that is why we must learn to conjure those occult masters, that is to conjure anyone who wants to give us a teaching in the astral, to know if it is really a teaching of someone who is conscious or if it is a fraud. We can even use this conjuration in the astral to investigate whether that person that we believe in the physical plane to be a master, to be, I don't know, someone enlightened, if it really is, if it is really is a master of the White Lodge, because we, if the being or master that we invoke, let's say I'm receiving the teachings of, I don't know, Osho, for example, and I want to know if that person is really a master, that if that teaching is really gonna help me. I'm going to unfold myself astrally, and I am going to invoke that person. I'm going to ask my inner father to call that person, and I'm going to call that person 3 times. And that person is going to arrive. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make this Jupiter conjuration that I'm going to explain now 3 times to that person. If that person remains the same, I mean, if it doesn't change, if her face like doesn't fall or start, I don't know, changing or becoming a demon, but it stays the same, and it shows me his sword. If it is a White Lodge master, it will have a sword in the right side. It will be a long sword, and that is actually a master of the White Lodge. If not, if it appears like a demon, or if the person start like becoming upset because you are conjuring them or him, then it is telling us that it is not a white master. It is just a negative entity posing as a master, or if the person that it is not any real master. And well, how this conjuration is done. When doing this, we also need to be concentrated in our heart. And with this conjuration, we are going to cover our solar plexus, which is the area here around the belly button. We are going to cover this area with our left hand. And with our right hand, we are going to raise the right hand. And we are going to raise our to lift our thumb, our index, and our middle fingers. And we are going to lift closed our ring finger and the little finger, like this. Like you see this character that I have here. And then we are going to say, imagining each word. In the name of Jupiter, Father of all gods, I conjure thee, Tevigos Coslim. And then we are going to imagine how a ray comes out from these 3 fingers and is like going towards the person that we are conjuring. And we are going to repeat these conjurations 2 more times. In the name of Jupiter, Father of all gods, I conjure Tevigos Coslim. And we are going to imagine the ray leaving our fingers. And the 3rd time. In the name of Jupiter, Father of all gods, I conjure thee, Tevigos Coslim. And when pronouncing Tevigos Coslim, we imagine the ray leaving these 3 fingers. And it's important to know something, that when we say I conjure thee, we are conjuring the psychological defects. This means that we are not attacking the person itself, but what we are doing is that we are conjuring the defect that is acting on that person that is there trying to cheat us, or that is there trying to harm us. Actually, when we start using this conjuration, we in the astral, we begin to become very confident, because we see how the defects and the psychological defects and also the negative entities are so afraid of these conjurations. They actually run. And we'll see that if we do this conjuration to a conscious being, that person will remain silenced, will remain quiet, intact, it's not going to change at all. Otherwise, if it is something negative, it will change its appearance, it will be affected, or it will disappear, or it will start running. And as I said, if you see that that person that you are conjuring start like being offended and scold us for wanting to conjure him, that is a symptom that he is an imposter, because someone who is already conscious, actually this conjuration doesn't like make them anything, because they don't have psychological defects anymore. And well, this is the Jupiter conjuration. Important to remember that we must do it 3 times, and that as we save our energy, we will see how that ray that comes out from our fingers has like every time more power. And well, that is the 3rd conjuration. The 4th conjuration is the pentalpha. Allow me a second, let me change this. Wait. Now, yeah, the pentalpha conjuration. This is a protection for, let's say, everyday life. When we leave our home or when we leave the magic circle, it is important to make this pentalpha when we are like going out from house, because when we break the magic circle of protection, we are no longer protected, and for that reason, it's important to do this conjuration, because this is like we are carrying that pentalpha of fire. That is what we do, or what we imagine when doing this pentalpha conjuration everywhere we go, and this pentalpha is actually protecting us. And to do this, we need to perform certain movements. And with these movements, we are going to create that powerful 5-pointed star or pentalpha like over us. And the first movement that we are going to do is that we are going to be standing up, as you see here, with our arms extended, palms up, and legs apart. And being in that position, we say the first mantric word, which is clean. Then we put our arms up, that is the second position, palms together above the head, and we are going to pronounce the second mantra, which is Krishnaya. Klim, Krishnaya. The third movement, we are going to, with our palms still together, we are going to down our arms until our wrists touch the top of our head and pronounce the third mantra, which is Govindaya. Then we are going to touch our shoulders with the tips of our fingers and pronounce the mantra Gopihana. And then we are going to extend again our arms, but now with the palms down, and we are going to pronounce the mantra Vaya Vaya. And the 6th and last movement is that we are going to lower our arms, the right arm over the left one, crossing the arms, crossing the right over the left arm. And we are going to pronounce the Swaha, like Klim, Krishnaya, Govindaya, Gopihana, Vaya Vaya, Swaha. We can actually do this pentalpha by chanting the mantras while doing the movements, or we can also do this pentalpha without the mantras and just like shaping the star with the movements. But actually, it is like better if we learn the mantras and we do the pentalpha while chanting this mantra. And this will be like our own particular protection amulet, actually. And well, these are the conjurations. As I told you, maybe tomorrow we are going to be posting these conjurations here in the page, so you can check them, so you can study them, so you can learn them, and you start practicing them, and you can start protecting yourself. And well, actually, this has been today's lecture. This is all for today. And I want to leave you with the invitation to put them into practice, and to the next lecture that we are going to see next Friday at this same time, where we are going to be talking about evolution, involution, and revolution. These are the different processes that our essence have to come through in its passage for the four kingdoms of nature, and we are going to see all the process of evolution that we have to live and all the process of involution, and we are going to be talking about how to get out of this wheel of samsara by achieving the revolution of our consciousness. So this will be the next lecture, and this has been all for today. Thank you very much to all of you, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Thank you very much.